Yo, welcome
Not
back.
going to jail.
Welcome back, y'all. We got podcast. We back at it another week. Sorry, we had to take last week off, man. We had a lot of stuff
Hey,
going on. It got a
hey,
little too crazy after listening to Thomas' crazy ass story, even though he really can't tell stories. We're gonna work on that though. So we had to take a little break
I
last week,
want
but
them.
we back at it. Best believe we found Jeff. He got kind of
You
stuck in the NBA playoffs, but he
here.
back.
Gotta
Holla
call
at
me
him, Jeff.
Jeff now. The boy
Wait, hold on.
y'all call me Master Jeff now.
Master Jeff.
Yeah. Wait, time out.
What you about to say,
Hold up.
Ian?
I
Hold
was
up.
gonna say, since we talk about NBA playoffs, I just want to say, fuck the
Yeah, let this man go on his rant.
76ers.
Hey, you
This
know what I gotta
man-
say?
This man Joel Embiid said, "Me and James can't win alone." Yes, the fuck you can. Like, shoot the ball. Stop being a bitch.
That's all I gotta say right here.
You're the MVP. Who you waiting for to step up? George Niang.
Damn.
Maxi.
You can
X,
have
4 points in the
Jalen
back.
Brunson.
You
You can have
waiting for Daniel House to do something?
Jalen Brown. You can have Jalen Hurts. You can have Jalen Rose.
The original Jalen.
He did 6. RIP to the 81-point Jalen. But we ain't even gonna get into that. We
I
got
just
something
wanna
action
say-
packed for y'all today. What you
Yeah.
got?
No, go ahead. I was gonna keep going on the Sixers, but it's over. It's all right.
Ian hating on the Sixers right now. Bro, it's next year, man. Y'all messed up my pick. I had money on y'all going to the finals, but I shouldn't
Don't
have
ever
bet
put
against
money
my
on
team.
Philly. Don't
I know,
ever
that's
put money
what it
on
was.
Philly sports.
I know that. I learned that.
There goes that parlay.
Hey, we got a special treat for y'all today. Chia's in the building. He got the camera back to how it used to be. We're gonna dive into Chia's story today. He got his brand new colorful microphone, so we're gonna hear everything this man got to say. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to
HD
it.
clarity.
Professional.
HD clarity. Before we get started, man, shout out to today's video sponsor. We ain't got one. So if you want to hop in here and rock with us, just know that we all we got, and we down to rock with you. So before we get started, let's pour up whatever you sipping on today. I went back to that brown, that dark, and got that Crown Regal. Yeah, I had to get off that Ciroc, man. That didn't get me angled, man. But cheers to everybody, man.
Oh,
We out here doing it again.
Cheers
It's
to
another
Chia.
episode. Yes, sir.
Sipping on that 19 Crimes by Snoop Dogg. He got his hand in everything, so shout out
Is
Snoop
that
Dogg.
that wine?
Yeah,
Yeah, his wine is fire.
yeah,
Y'all
shit is
know
fire.
Thomas usually the one with the fire, but he at work today, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna hold it down for him. Got the hookah. Hey, Chia.
All right, y'all. I'm excited about this episode. Y'all gonna learn a lot about Chia,
Yes,
and
sir.
what's in it for y'all today. Essentially, you're gonna learn how a kid that grew up in West Africa, Nigeria, crossed the Atlantic Ocean to end up at a PWI institution, and you might be asking yourself, how does that happen? So I'll just take y'all. I'll start from the beginning. A little background about myself. Growing up, I went to a boarding school in Nigeria when I was 6 years old.
Gia was a prince.
No. Essentially, the reason I bring that up, it was like an American school in Nigeria. So one of the things that I did, like I would leave home and be at school for like 2 weeks, and then on the weekends, 2 days, I come back home and see my family and stuff. And I did that from like 1st to 5th grade. Fun fact: I did not go to 6th grade. I skipped the 6th grade, and just went straight to 7th grade. But that experience. That experience, again, it was like an American curriculum in Nigeria. So I think that kind of prepared me. And I had no idea that I was going to, cross the ocean and whatnot. But that kind of prepared me for, I would say, lessen the culture shock of me coming to Geneva College. But it was definitely still there. So, again, growing up, typically, people that may not know, I grew up in a town called Jos, affectionately known as J-Town. That's what, if you say J-Town, people know what I'm talking about. The climate is, if you ever get a chance, that's one of the places I would recommend. When you talk about organic food and good weather and just good people, I think that like played a huge part in my upbringing. But that's where I grew up till Geneva came in. So one thing you need to know about Nigerian immigrants is they want you, like immigrant parents, they want you to get your education, man, like whatever it is. And my dad was an engineer, and he kind of set the bar high for me. And it was like, you had the grades to go to school. So the process of getting to Geneva, this is for like any international students or like black students thinking about going to college. I had to take the SATs, and there's something called TOEFL too. It's what you got to take if you not in the States. It's essentially called Test of English as a foreign language. They just want to know you can speak English, and that's something you got to take. But essentially, you got to take a lot of tests. I applied to a lot of different schools. I did not think I was going to end up at Geneva. Y'all might have heard of a college called like McGill College. That was in like Canada. It's supposed to be like the Harvard of like Canada or something. Applied there, didn't get in. I still think I should have got in, but I didn't. I supposed to go to like
Hold up. Time out. Wait a minute.
what?
So you're not going to skip past the fact that the city of Jos is flipping beautiful. Like,
Oh,
I just
yeah.
Googled it, and
My man said, I didn't
yeah,
do that shit.
it's like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, everybody reps their city. I get that, but it's one of them things. Like, I never really thought about the climate till you leave, and then they're like, "Oh, the climate's so good," and I was like, "Damn, I thought the climate was always like this." But it don't really snow. You only got 2 seasons: raining season and dry season. For people that don't know, so ain't no snow or nothing like that. When you
That
talk
shit sound
about
like
like,
Florida, dog.
yeah, it's just like it rains sometimes, and then sometimes it's just dry. It's just dry. So
They're
that's
from Orlando.
yeah, it's really like it was one of those things that I had to learn. But yeah, Joss is beautiful. It's again, there was a lot of again, it's kind of wild to think about it, but they're like white missionaries out there too. So it's just kind of like again, you wouldn't know it was a unique experience till you get out of there and you're like, oh snap. So going to Geneva was like my 4th choice to be honest, yo. And the only reason I went there was because I knew my cousin. I'll refer to her as my cousin. We grew up like family friends. I've known her since I was like super young. And her sister actually went out there and she graduated and she was like, well, you know, she made it and her sister's there. You might as well apply. And I was like, okay. And I got into U of L. I got into Geneva. I got into like 2 other places. But it was just like my mom was like, hey, you know who she is. You know, like Say's already there, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I might be able to get a football scholarship as well. So I went back and forth with the what was the office you worked at, Briscoe?
The office I worked at.
Yeah, like where they do like admin stuff.
Admissions?
Yeah, admissions.
I ain't working at admissions.
Hey, was it admissions? My bad.
I was in the phone-a-thon, dog.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
You
I
tried-
thought it's like in the same building,
You tried to get a football scholarship?
like a soccer,
He ain't talking American
football.
football.
Yeah, I ain't
Oh, that
talking.
man ain't-
I'm sorry. No, I'm not
Man
talking
said I was
that.
trying to play free
I was about to
safety.
say,
Yeah.
I seen your hands.
Yeah. No, I got. Hey, I'm nice
I'm
at.
kidding.
I'm nice at badminton. I'm nice at ping pong. But now you're right. So yeah, that's how I just applied to Geneva College. I was like, I really didn't even think it was gonna happen. It was like my 4th choice, honestly, and somehow it did happen. You know, I got, and that's the thing about that is like they were super happy to like, you know, it's like when you apply for a job and they're like, damn, we about to hire you, like, you know, we'll hire you next week or some shit, and you're like, damn, okay, yeah, yeah, I can start tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay. That's not odd, but I'm excited, but you know, you don't really know. So that's kind of how I ended up at Geneva College. And that was the start of that journey. So getting to Geneva, again, we talked about this in the past, like you don't really know who your roommates are going to be. Like essentially I had no idea like who my roommates were going to be at that point. But I ended up at Pierce Hall. And super wild thing is super crazy when I think about it. This kid that I was roommates with, so random. I never met him before. I didn't know who he was. His cousin was married to a dude from Nigeria that grew up in the same town I grew up in. And I actually got to meet him. So I was like, man, I don't know what that is. Call it the universe or some shit. So I was like, it was God trying to lighten the blow of the shock that I was going to get at a PWI. That's what I'd like to think. But at least that part worked out. But no, as far as like one of the culture shocks, again, I would say like the first thing was like the food. Because I never had, one thing I tell people is I never had Alfredo sauce. That's one thing I never ate growing up. And I was like, what is this, bro? Like
That's
what?
how you got introduced to Alfredo sauce.
Yeah,
That's how
it
you
was that
introduced
it's
white
the
sauce?
brig,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would
and like pesto and shit.
so
I was like,
I'm
what
so
is
sorry.
this?
My man said this is a
I'm so
different
sorry.
type of seasoning.
Yeah, this is mad different. But again, like the school I went to, the American school, like we had pizza and we had all like the American things, but I was like, this is a different type of American type of food and whatnot. So like again, the concept, you gotta understand, I grew up in the most populous black nation in the world. Like that shit wasn't even I never really thought about, like, you hear about race and shit, you don't really think about it. But like I alluded to in like the first episode, being at Geneva was one of the first times I was like, oh, like like you black like you black at Geneva. And it took a while to settle because I would say like my freshman year, I knew Jarwood, I knew like a couple of the black kids, but I didn't really know them like that. It was just like, man, I was doing my own thing. I was just figuring it out. Like I said, the concept of credit hours was new to me. And the way it was, it's like, boy, you get to school, put your head down and you study. Okay. That's it. So that's what I was doing. And my grades were good. I ain't even gonna lie. My first semester at Geneva was probably my best. And then after that, it just kind of went downhill from there. My first experience, like when I was like, oh, stuff is a little different, was when I tried out for the soccer team. And the vibe that I got from the coach, it wasn't like even any clear feedback or anything. It was just like, it was nothing. It was not like, hey, I like this, I don't like that. If you work on this, you can get a shot. It was just like, the vibe was super off. And at that, I was a young kid, 17. I was like, I didn't really understand, but I just knew, like, oh, I'm probably not going to be on the team. And I was going to be an engineer as well. So it was like my first experience with that. But yeah, that's like essentially how my journey at Geneva started. And just the more time I spent out there, it just again, there was nothing to really compare it to, but I would say probably in like second semester of freshman year, I was like, I know this place is a bubble. Like, I just know like the experiences I'm having here at this campus is not a reflection of what's outside of it. Because I remember a couple times I had to walk to Miss Cook's house and stuff with Say and them, and I was like, yeah, this, like, once you leave the campus, I was like, it's different. It's a completely different vibe. Like once you leave,
Say that again.
yeah, just like super different. So, one of the things I want to kind of allude to anybody that's listening to it right now, and it's like, as far as community, and this came in, this probably Briscoe he probably not even gonna remember this, but I think the time when I started, as far as realizing community and like, damn, I'm black and like community does matter, it was probably my sophomore year. And it was like, I forget the rooming situation. It was going to be something crazy, yo. And I just remember Briscoe like coming in, essentially he was like, nah, you rooming with Jeff, and like this shit is about to happen. Like, it's just a crazy situation. But like before that, we'd been in like the fashion show and whatnot, and like we'd done like the multicultural office and things like that. But I think that was like the beginning. And I used to hang with Jarwood every now and then. He'd do like multicultural office stuff too as well. So that was probably at the beginning. And I wanna allude to this too. Like, motherfuckers don't understand how big like rap music, like the influence rap music has. Like the fact that I rap is not an accident, bro. Like, it's the fact that like it's what I was exposed to like in West Africa. Like all the same artists people listen to here, cats listen to like growing up to, and they have that influence on people. And they really be like thinking they in the streets, like they living that life too. And the artists don't really, I don't know that they know that. Maybe they're aware of that shit, but they probably don't really understand. Like now they probably do because of social media, but back then it wasn't like, I don't think people had that exposure. So I bring that up because I think that's one of the things that kind of brought us together to it. Alex is like motherfuckers freestyling and shit. And I always just like the freestyle. I was like, it's just like a creative outlet, you know?
Who'd you listen to growing up?
Y'all heard of Killer Priest and Cannabis?
I heard of Cannabis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I listened to, there's like, I would separate it into like mainstream and like other artists that we was like, bro, we gonna listen to these underground like artists. Wu-Tang Clan was like a big thing growing up too, which is super crazy. Like motherfuckers knew all about Wu-Tang. And I was like, when I think about it, yeah, and like Tupac, like I remember being in elementary school and that was like we knew Tupac had died. Like I remember that. But I was like, I don't know who Tupac is. I don't know why we got to do that. And Nigerians is funny people. They always have like Nigerian remixes to like popular songs. So you just change the words and shit. So you're going to know like where the song came from. They're just going to change the lyrics.
Remixing Tupac shit.
Yeah, it was remixing that shit. I'm not going to embarrass myself and sing it, but it's just like the
I
influence,
can
like the
only imagine
culture.
what Hail Mary sounded like.
Yeah, and Nigerians like to claim everybody, every famous person. They be like, he's Nigerian too. So it was just like a thing. They claim everybody. It's funny. Like now I think about it, I'm like, damn. If they famous and they be like, oh yeah, he's Nigerian. Oh, that's our people. You know what I mean? So it's just like stuff like that. But I would say, again, my sophomore year is when I was like, oh man, I knew it was at that point that I understood like I'd really done something, I guess, significant, like getting on a plane, 13-hour flight to a different country. I mean, I have two siblings here. I have like cousins. I have some family here. But like I've heard of people that like popped out here and they were like, this one person I knew went to like Grove City, and after the first week, she booked like a return ticket back because she was like,
"No, this ain't it."
She said, I can't do this anymore. I was like, damn, I didn't know that was an option. I thought I was gonna take it, but it's like that's how real it is. How One of the things I will say at Geneva that wasn't, I'm sure my parents would probably love that, but at the same time we kind of talked about it, was the chapel thing. And that was something that for me, I was like, it's just like with anything, the concept of choice, man. Like you want to have the autonomy to make the decision to be like, I'm going to chapel because I feel like this is going to be like my relationship with God or whatever, as opposed to it being mandated. Then it kind of takes that away and you got to deal with that. But in actuality, we know we ain't really have a choice. If you go to Geneva, you kind of have to go. Else they're not gonna pass you, and that's gonna be it
for that, man.
Yeah, like so that's one of the things I was like, oh, this is different. And
Chia,
it's
when you look at your story, man, when you look at your experience, like what would you say is probably the one eye-opening, if you have one, most eye-opening experience to you as far as transitioning from, because you have a very specific background, right? And like you said, you went to American school, stuff like that. But when you finally in Geneva, finally in America, and you're having that wow experience, like what would you say is the one thing that sticks out?
Oh, it's hard to pinpoint. I feel like there are a lot of them. Like the dagger hire stuff, I was like, that's not regular people.
Talk about that. I know people don't know what that is. Talk about that.
So I remember like watching like, I think they got a scene in the movie like Role Models. I don't know if y'all seen that. They had, and I just remember being like, oh, that's just a movie. Like that's just like it's a funny movie, you know what I mean? But then Dagger Hire is just like people dressing up. It's almost like old school cosplay, but like with like swords and shit. And y'all really be having like fights on the lawn.
Don't say y'all really doing that shit.
Yeah, I was like, I
was doing that. Jeff, you was out there, dog.
That was.
I did it once.
I think. Yeah, that was.
I definitely did it once.
Yeah, and that was just like, again, like I was like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna try stuff, but it was like I could tell that was different. It's hard for me to pinpoint, and I'm sure it's gonna come to me at some point.
Wait, you were out there playing, Chia?
Nah, nah.
You ain't got a lot of kicking.
Nah, I never did it. I'll tell you, I did the Pisgah stuff, like the obstacles course. I did that shit.
Just say, give me the wooden horse. Yeah. Let me try this shit.
I was like, yeah. And I would say, like, just being like, at some point, I think I remember just being conscious when I was being in Pierce Hall that I was like one of like a couple of black people, and I was like, everybody, it's different. I could tell, like, yeah, that was different. I was like, it was just something that you become aware of, whether you care about it or not. And even if you ask like why it's like that, you're probably not going to really, I guess, get like an honest answer. but it was
Just
just
is.
like, yeah, it just is what it is. And I was like, I guess this is what it is. Um, Dude, there's so many. If I really sat down and thought about it, there're just like so many. I call them like micro moments. If I'm like, oh, I was like, oh snap. And I think it was like it was that kind of led to like my. I won't say. I was gonna say my transition. Just like
Oh,
it made me aware that I was black.
Yeah, pause.
And like me,
What you mean?
I mean, my social transition. That's all I was gonna say.
That's what lets me come out the
you
car.
Yeah.
You gotta put a. Yeah.
Nah, it just became
You
aware
had
like
to.
that the black experience at Geneva was unique. Like motherfuckers, I remember someone said this to me. It was like, damn, like if I get stopped by a cop, like they don't care if I'm Nigerian or you're like you're black at that point. So there's no differentiator. Like it was just like, bro, you having the same experience on some level, and I was like, that is facts. So I was like, whether I liked it or not, I was like, the environment I was in, I was like, I seen people I know, like motherfuckers going through the same experiences. And I had to be conscious about it, to be honest, because honestly, growing up in different circles, like, I don't know how popular, like, people make assumptions. And that's just like about the power of media and be like, oh, don't hang out with them kids. You want to hang out with the hood kids or this or that. And I was like, bro, I don't even pay attention to that. But like, it's something I would say, like, people, I would say any African like people got to be aware of is just understanding like is everyone battles like negative stereotypes because of like media you're exposed to, like just to be conscious about that and like to overcome those biases. But like I had to like literally be conscious about that. And it's like, where do you pick that shit up? It's just like everywhere. I don't know, that might sound a little meta, but it's just like that was my experience.
Looking back,
I
man,
have
looking
to
back,
add
do
that.
you feel like where you are right now, everything you've accomplished right now, if you had to go back knowing that your life would be the way that it is, would you still have made the same choice with Geneva?
I don't really know. As far as nah, honestly, when I think about it, there's no point in playing that like if you could go back type of game. Sometimes I think maybe I would have stuck to like the major I had because I had the grades. That was another thing. Like for you to come to it from a different country, like I've been good at school. Like I probably slacked at some point, but I've just been good at school. So I'm like, man, maybe I would have stuck with the engineering major. But then I'm like, honestly, what I thought I was going to be using engineering for and what I know engineering is right now would probably have been two different things. So either way, at some point, I would have been like,
What
maybe
concentration you went into?
like what I start with or what I end with.
Both.
I started off with a bioengineering major, so that was my first. That was my first mistake, was because Geneva didn't even have a bioengineering major. They was going to make that shit for me. So I was like, okay, I was about to start this because I'd taken calculus and stuff like that, and I was like good at it. But after a while, I was like, bro, if this is the way they frame it to kids too, at like 17 or 18, unless you have connections and you know exactly what that job like description is, it's hard for you to understand what like your career is going to look like based on the major that you pick, if that makes sense. Like, because I was like, damn, like I'm taking calculus 1 and 2. I'm going to be doing this. My understanding was like, I'm going to be doing this on my job, like day in, day out. And I was like, I can do it, but I don't want to. So that affected my decision. So I guess to answer your question, maybe I would have picked like a different major. I did try to leave Geneva. I actually did. I was like, should I have tried harder? I don't know. But like again, we wouldn't be having this podcast. And just like honestly, like it's taken experience, but just knowing like even my wife and my sister and people that I know, they don't really know who they like went to college with. Like them cats is just like history. They really they don't really refer to their college friends, you know what I mean? It's just like niggas that they was at school with. So I know like this is unique, and I do like I definitely cherish that because I've seen like motherfuckers don't really fuck with their college friends like that. They just really don't.
That's real. I feel
So yeah, that's one. Yeah, especially if you go to. I was like, man, if I went to a school with like 30,000 kids, I don't know if I don't think I would have had like this experience. But again, you just never know. But like, I don't think I would have had that same experience at Geneva. From like just all the little things, going to McDonald's, like,
What was that Chinese spot we used to go to?
dude, I forget.
The one across the street from
I
McDonald's
just
before we watched The Walking Dead.
I just remember I don't know why I remember this shit. What's her name? Christy Elaine Watterson kept talking about, oh, they be killing cats in there. I'm like, why do you keep saying that? Like, that just
I actually
seems...
remember that Chinese place now that you said that.
Yeah, I was like, why do you keep saying that?
I don't know what it was about that stereotype.
It just seemed like a racist trope. I didn't know that's what it was, but I was like, I feel like you just want to keep saying that.
Another name I haven't heard in years.
You had diarrhea one time, okay? That's on you. The Chinese food is still good. Like,
Bro, y'all really.
How do you know you get diarrhea from eating cat? Anyways,
yeah, I don't know. This
Like, have
you got to
ever
blame it on
ate a cat
somebody.
to try it out?
it's just another meat, for real.
I'm like, bro, y'all just be saying, y'all just hear one racist idea and just spread it innocently. I'm like, what the fuck?
Hey, speaking on that, like the racial aspect of it, you know, obviously being a minority in race and in color, what was that experience or adjustment?
So,
like? Did you experience
like,
anything that you say like, yo, this, like, motherfucker, that was racist? Like, did you experience anything
yes,
that you like sticks out?
man, I ain't gonna give no names or nothing, but I do
Hey, put
remember.
a name on it.
Nah,
This
I
is
do
rated
remember
No
being
names.
being aware, and this is somebody that y'all probably know, but this was freshman year because motherfuckers just be bullshitting. And you're freshman, you don't know nothing. But I do remember this kid like freshman year, and he said it was actually some really, really racist shit that he said. I'm not gonna drop no names, but I was like, damn, because I don't know. I guess just the way I've been in boarding school and you with niggas all the time. Like I was in boarding school with people that like we grew up together in the same spot like for 6 years. So motherfuckers fight, make up the same day. Like it's just like what it is. It's not like deep. But then at Pierce, I was like, oh, these like essentially we was just bullshitting, and then it got racial, and then I was like, I didn't really think about it. And that's the thing, because again, I was the minority there, but I didn't even think about all these things at that point, because in the heat of the moment you're just like, oh, we just talking. But I was like, yeah, that just gave me a peek into like the psyche of an RP kid at that school and what they think they are at that school. And again, it was somebody that y'all know probably really well. And that's one of the things that's be like, oh, they could have changed or some shit. But I was like, that let me know exactly like what you thinking. Like it
That's
don't
what
matter
I
if you
said,
like
man. Tigers
it
don't
don't
change their stripes.
it don't matter if you
I
like
really wanna know who it
basketball.
is now.
I do
It don't
too.
matter
They
if
gonna
you
drop
like
that name in the chat,
basketball.
Yeah, type it in the chat. I want to know who it is.
I kind of want to know what they said too, but I mean,
Me
Yeah,
too.
but
Hey,
this
say
was
what they
like,
said.
and that's the thing is like it was like early at Geneva. Like I'm talking about first 4 or 5 weeks at Geneva type shit. But it's just one of them things that I learned. I was like, oh, so that's the information that's in your brain. That's what you think. That's where you think you are in the totem pole and shit. And I was like, oh,
So I'm waiting for you to drop the name and what he said.
or she.
Nah.
It could have been a she.
nah, it's a he. But other part, like I would say anybody that's considering, again, because of my exposure, I know like the culture shock wasn't as hard as it would be for people that didn't have that exposure. But I would say like definitely be very picky about like where you go to school at. Like academics is one part, but you need community. I'll definitely say that. Like you definitely need community. Yeah.
Gee, I'm finna tune your ass out. You don't drop this in the chat, player.
Where the chat at? Where the chat at?
Suspense killing me, dog.
Me too. I'm trying to figure out what he's telling you.
I probably be talking to the person every day.
Type
Why
it
didn't
in.
you tell us?
Yeah,
Bro, that's the thing. It's like it's one of them things that happens like years later, and you're like, I don't even know how I bring this shit up. Like, that's the thing about. It makes me understand like the Me Too movement, like be sympathetic to them, like women and stuff, because I like understand like in the moment and at like the age you are, you don't really understand what's going on, and then it could be like a couple of weeks or months later, and you're like, wait, like what the fuck was that?
Wait, what Joe said was out of pocket.
Yeah, but now like as you get older, you got to check that shit immediately. I'm really trying to find the chat because I will put this shit in there. But yeah, the racial part, that was the other thing I would say. Geneva was it was, I won't say like a safe place. Like when you think about someone that had no experience outside their home culture, like that type of person, in one part, I think it provides like a safe environment to a degree, but it also is like a bubble, so it's not real. Like since I left Geneva, I'm like, bro, everything in the real world, like if I base my life experience on Geneva, like you'd be you'd be fucked. Sorry. Like you just be like, damn, that doesn't match reality at all. Like not even a little bit. But yeah, that part, I think I handled that part better than I would have thought because Nigerians too, like you got to be tough, man. Like you just got to be tough on some level, man. It don't matter what it is. So you got to deal with that. But there definitely was, again, some of, like when I think about Miss Cook, like down the years, like that wasn't like on me, but that was another reminder to me of like, damn, like this is real life. Like I don't know if you, how you gonna work at this institution for 17 years, get fired over a verbal, like I don't know, whatever you want to call it, and give like have no explanation for it, and convince me that there was no like race did not play a factor. Like it's just, if you have the power, you can say whatever you want to. You can be like it wasn't a good fit. You could be like we didn't see eye to eye or some shit. But looking in from the outside, you know what it is. So anyway, I hope that.
Look at the chat.
Where's the chat?
Hey,
Oh.
first of all, man, bottom right, you should see a little icon, man. Your shit
Oh,
should be red, like
Yeah.
37.
I see everyone. Bottom
Yeah,
right.
hit everyone.
Yeah, hit everyone.
Backstage or
No, we're not in the backstage, dog. We if you hit the chat, joint, say everyone and then say the stage.
That's funny as shit. I just seen all this.
oh, what the fuck? This been going on the whole time. Damn.
John
Hey,
Wall. That's funny as shit.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jeff were actually really cool with him.
I know.
hey,
that's
I need
that's
part two. I need part two. I need to know what was said, player. You
Damn.
nah, but
I knew his friend was a little bit
Little
racist,
sus.
but
yeah.
said that's spicy.
Damn.
damn.
Hey, Chia, I got a question though, man. You said you had Alfredo for the first time. What was the food culture like? Shock wise, man. Like how was that? What was it? I know it was an adjustment, so
What was it? Yeah.
I never had. I love cheesecake. I never had cheesecake till I came out here. So that was one thing I said I love. It's just like the generic stuff that you hear. I would say sometimes the stereotypes, like the cliches, are true. Like the spice level of food was like, yeah, that's not what I'm used to. Yeah, it was non-existent. it was non-existent.
My man said, "With a adobo."
Yeah.
I know what Chia's
Yeah.
favorite was.
What was it?
Pizza Joe's.
Oh, it was every Sunday. Every
Ate at
Sunday
Pizza
I'll be
Joe's.
getting what did I get? I used to get this sandwich every Sunday, like creature of habit and shit. But the food, man, culturally, like I said, it's just because like I grew up eating some of like American food, and the thing is like one of the things that's confusing is pizza. So like the version of pizza I had growing up, this was before deep dish. That that crust was thick as hell.
Whoa, pause, dog. Hey, where Thomas at? Man? He gotta tell you to pause, bro.
Nah, the crust was like deep as hell, and like the toppings was different. So what you grow up like thinking pizza is, and when you come to PA and you have pizza, you're like, damn, this is like two different foods, bro. It's like
you're talking about pizza, nigga.
yeah, nah, it's pizza. Because a lot of food like
what?
that was a big thing.
What'd you miss?
Dude, I miss like And dude, it's messed up because like I grew up eating spicy food, and even now, and if I eat spicy food, like I'll be sweating, I'll be loving it, but I'll be sweating, and I'm like, damn. So I think I just ate.
I'm sweat.
I just ate too much Alfredo and like pesto sauce for a while, and then my body was just like, yeah, you don't like spicy food no more.
Let me rephrase a question I asked you earlier.
All right.
As far as your experience at a PWI, how different do you think it would have been at a HBCU?
You know,
The other
that's
extreme.
man. You know, I never
Send it.
thought about that before. Now, you thought-provoking question. Because I know a couple of people that went to, like, HBCUs, and I can't really base... Like, I know, like, some of them didn't have the best experiences, but I know, like, I'll be putting myself out there and shit, and I'm really, like, genuinely trying to understand people's point of view. So, I probably would have met cool niggas, too. I mean, I'm sure there would be a subset of people that I'd just be like, man... They fuck with me, I fuck with them. I think it would have worked out, but it wasn't even like a thing on my radar, to be honest. I don't think I knew HBCUs existed.
Damn.
Like
Crazy.
it was like something I knew, but I take that back. So y'all know the rapper Davido. Like
Yeah,
his parents sent
I
him
thought it
to
was
like
Davido.
Nigerian say
Don't he say
Davido.
DeVito,
but
babe?
yeah, it's Davido. If you in Nigeria, say Davido, but otherwise you good. But he
I'ma
went
say
to like
DeVito in Nigeria, yeah.
he went to like a Seventh-day Adventist like college too, but I think it was a HBCU because like I said, African parents, they want you to go to like a religious school where you're gonna focus, man. Like that's what it is. If they have a religious affiliation, that checks 50%, man. That's it. 60%. That's it. But like I said, anybody thinking about going to college, like that's important too, but community is important too. Like you need to, whatever community looks like for you, you just got to know, you got to have that. That's the important thing, I would say. But yeah, I think about it. I knew a girl I went to high school with that went to Howard, and I probably have to ask her how her experience was. I don't know if she liked it or not.
I visited
You know,
Howard. That shit was good.
Say what?
Yeah.
I visited Howard because it's not far from where I live. It's probably like a 2-hour drive. It looked crazy.
Man, let me ask.
HBCU.
Didn't Geneva look crazy before we went in there? Shit look good.
I don't know. When I went up there, it was doing construction. Nigga. I thought they were still building the school, bro.
And that was another thing. I didn't really get to visit before I got there. I just kind of got there, and that was it. I was like, yep.
No, Geneva did not look crazy at all. Fuck no.
I forgot this shit was on here.
Hell
Football,
Hey, no,
football
Thomas,
field look nice.
Thomas came up during spring break. That's why that shit.
I came at the end of the semester. Everybody was fucking gone. Like nobody was there but the admin people and the fucking coaches. But it's not about me.
But yeah, that's
the ghost of Thomas right there. We can't see him, but we know he in spirit.
Yeah, but hopefully y'all like, as far as my Geneva story, kind of the highlights was just like I referenced my transition, my social transition when I started hanging out with the black kids, and I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be at. I definitely remember that.
What was the dating experience like at
Oh
GU?
man, my wife was asking me that. She was like, yeah, I would want to know about that. Bro, like growing up, yeah, nah, she don't want to hear it. I know what am I say out
You
here?
said, that's a powerful nigga tree.
Yeah, you don't need to be knowing these things, honey. Don't worry about it, honey. Don't worry
Don't
about
worry
it.
about it, sweetheart.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Bro, honestly, like again, just growing up religious and stuff, I feel like I didn't date till I started dating, and then I went ham. Like, I feel like once I started, because it was always that like you got to date to marry type shit, and I'm like, bro, like I don't even know what my major is. You want me to pick a life partner right now? So, like, and then it's like, damn, you just want to get married so you can put the tip in? Like, what? Like, like, bro. So my dating experience, man, it was interesting, man. Yeah, it was interesting. I would say like I dated both black and white people at Geneva, and I didn't even think about that.
Wait,
Like,
hold on. Black.
yeah,
There's only
Yeah, he
one I
did.
remember. It was like, ooh.
I remember.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Tip
Time out. Wait a
so
minute.
in on my
All the
marble
black
floor.
people there.
About 2 or 3 of them things.
I know that's it, bro. I think I know all of them by name, player.
Yeah, but that
Who
was
that
like
chat,
Who
Mike,
Chia's
eh?
talking about?
so
Who
that
Chia
was
I'm
talking
gonna drop
about?
the name.
no, yeah, drop it in the chat. But honestly, I think it was a good experience, man, because the more I learned about how people just be not locking down. I know, like for me, what I was exposed.
Jeff just remembered.
Hey, I don't remember that.
Jeff was mad at me for like 3 years because some shit, the shit that happened, bro.
I don't remember who was that. I don't remember that. What year was that? Was that our year?
That was
Jeff's
my.
year?
I mean, you would have been there if Chia
Yeah,
was
you was-
there.
I don't remember what year that is.
What year? I'm saying, what year was she?
She was a freshman.
Right, yeah. She was younger than us.
Yeah.
I think she was a sophomore. But yeah, that's like that was like one of my first like, oh, we about to date. And that's just the thing, like with college, dude, you living on your own, you got the pressure to like almost like have everything perfect if that makes sense. I was like, man, we gotta like we about to build something or whatever. You know, I don't know. I was just like, we about to date. And I did that for like a little bit. And then I dated another person at Geneva who was, when I talk about, she was engaged at 19 and broke off her engagement. And then we started dating. So that started off as just like, it really did start off as like a fling type
Wait.
thing.
Oh, with the good hair. Yeah.
Yeah, with the good hair. It really did. And then it turned into something serious. But then it turned out,
Stupid, dog.
it turned out that wasn't a good fit either, man. Like, yeah, I learned a lot, man.
Dark. I don't know none of this shit.
Nah, it was good. It was a good experience for both of us, but at the end, like I learned a lot of things about myself, man. Like, I would say, like, good. It don't matter. Like at that age, you're looking at like the looks, like you super obsessed with that, but like you gotta find a woman that's like, what's the word? I'm gonna say like mentally stable, that can make decisions, that's not emotional. And I learned that in my second relationship, man. Like I learned about like shit's just crazy. Like it can go from hot to cold or cold to hot, and you would have no idea why. And you're like, damn, like, and just trying to understand like relationships is hard, period. But dating, like the two people I did date, and I had a minor hoe phase. Who doesn't? Just had a low hoe phase, but I just learned that like I wasn't about to
Oh, Thomas,
just
you know you
marry.
player.
I wasn't just going to like settle down and marry somebody because it's the RP thing to do. Like that would have been a bad decision at that time. And I felt the pressure. I would say when I was dating a person with the good hair, I was like, I felt like the steps was like, oh, we about to like tie the knot and like live in Beaver Falls. I was like, what? I was like, that's that like what? And that was the thing, like, even, like, when I left, because, like, I was there all summer, and she stayed. She had, like, it was going to be her senior year. And when I left, she was like, don't leave. And I'm like, I don't want to be in Beaver Falls. I want to see the world, baby. I want to see America. But it was just, like, the idea was just, like, you find the one, you settle down, y'all have kids in Beaver Falls, and I think that was as far as the eye could see at that point. So my dating experience, I will say one of the things I did, and this is not like any African parents, I'll tell like kids know this. You don't bring them, and this might be universal. You don't bring them to see your mom or your parents unless you're serious. Like that was like a big thing. But just the way it was, like my parents would come here like once a year, and it just so happened like the person I was dating, and whoever I was dating at that point, like just got to meet my parents because that was the one time they was gonna meet them. So that was one thing I had to be careful about because African parents is like, I don't want to see her if like you're not serious about her. Like that's it. So I had to. I'm proud of myself because I lived my truth and my parents saw me through my whole phase and they saw me get the prize. But I was like, you know,
And my
this.
parents accepted me for who I am.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I had to fight that shit, but I'm also the baby, so they probably just let me get away with it. But I was like,
Wait,
it's
your
the
parents knew
truth.
you were being.
No, but they just know like
They
if
knew
we
you
met
were in
this
the
one
street.
girl last year and then we meet this girl like the second year, like son, what's going on? So
That shit don't sound like Coming to America. I love you dearly, bro, but this sound like Coming to America like a motherfucker. You had to come so your royal oats.
but like I said, and like growing up, it's
Bro,
just.
someone take this man Thomas microphone.
Oh man.
But no, I'm grateful.
I
My
promise you I'm not high either.
yeah, shout out to my mom, my dad. Rest in peace to my dad. But he gave me everything that I have, like even just like literally everything. But yeah, yeah. If you come into America, find community. That's what I got for him.
I was gonna say I think that's the biggest thing that you said, but I just want to double down on that. Would you say that's the most important thing for someone that looks like us, looks like you, that
Yep.
wants to go to school, and the one piece of advice you get them?
Go like, there's another college, and right now they have a president that actually he's white, he's Dutch, but he grew up in Nigeria, and he mentions that. Anyway, I'm gonna just name drop. It's Calvin College, and he's like, hey, parents, Nigerian parents, if you're thinking about sending your kids like out the country, send them to Calvin because there's community. Like you'll have like they will not feel like isolated. They gonna know like where they feel like they're gonna feel at home. And I know you can apply that for like anybody, Hispanic, anybody that's a minority, wherever you're going to. You just want to have some sense of community.
Hey man, the Heat right now down by 15, dog.
Oh.
That's why I keep turning.
Yo,
my
John.
head.
Yeah.
Go around the room and tell us what you thought about us the first time you met.
You first met us?
One of us.
Yeah,
Bro, white people love Jeff. That's the first thing I said. I said white people love Jeffrey.
Jeff said, "Hey,
It's like
it is what it is."
It is.
Yeah, and like
Jeff
I'll be
had that
talking, but
song.
I'll be like an introvert too. So I was like, man, Ian kind of like an introvert too. That's what I thought. I was like, Ian's an introvert, but like he be getting it popping. Like once he's like comfortable, he be getting shit popping too. And I was like, man, he be playing football and basketball. It's like that's what's up.
Man, an athlete.
Briscoe, I'm trying to remember man, Briscoe always been how Briscoe been, man. He like he's the reason he's editing this podcast, the reason he's like spearheading this thing to a degree. He's always been Briscoe. I'm gonna give him that. Like,
Appreciate
and I know that helped in like football and like I don't know if it's competitive nature and stuff like that, but Briscoe always been Briscoe, man.
that.
Thomas, like I said, we was freestyling at the brig, and I just remember that's the first time I met Thomas. I remember that shit. And like just thinking back, all black people were just trying to do the best with what we got. Because I remember like y'all remember Marky Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sound familiar.
Yeah, like he would be like, there'd be times I was thinking about that shit. Like he would just come spend the night at the dorm because he wasn't trying to go back to Pittsburgh and shit. I was like, yeah, this nigga, come shit, dude, we got the couch. Come like just come sleep and shit. Like niggas just trying to do the best they got. Like Jarwood's been a player since I know Jarwood.
He
But
can't
nah,
even get mad about that.
Joe is my African brother, man. We share that bond. My homie's mad athletic, but my man always been taking train walks at like 1:00 with these people. I'm like, bro, she's gonna catch feelings, bro. It don't matter what you do. Like that's what's gonna happen. But I fuck with Jarwo. Jarwo's the homie, man. I hope hope his 5K went well. Who else
That man
was
really
the
doing
black people
5K
out there?
for
Yeah, I hope he get that
I can't even
promotion.
say what for.
Oh, shout out to Jarwood too. He did come back from Mexico and he got me a souvenir, so I do appreciate that shit. I'll be
Where's
drinking.
that? Where the
I don't
souvenir
know.
at?
I don't know. Just I don't. You gotta ask. I mean, it's not free, but you ever had white Hennessy?
Oh yeah,
Hell
they had it on
yeah.
the boat.
I had that for
all right.
the first 3 podcasts, my guy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, good for y'all. Good for y'all.
I don't drink Hennessy though. That shit's gross. I'm kidding.
It's
I'm
like an
kidding.
acquired taste, bro. Hennessy's like drinking
No,
Hennessy is
white-
like drinking fine wine and scotch, bro. You gotta like,
White Hennessy is good.
yeah, white Hennessy.
I can't drink regular Hennessy.
Nah,
Yeah, that's
I'm not built
drinking
like
that is
that.
like listening to T Grizzy or some shit like that.
and dude, like my
I'm
Geneva
from the
experience. Going back to that, like I be forgetting shit, but like I became friends with like I had this summer job painting, and I became friends with the dean's like stepson and stuff. So that I don't know if y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
exactly who you're talking
So that
about.
was like, dude.
We will not bring him up.
Yeah, but he was a different. I would say he was a different dude back then. But motherfucker threw a party at the president's house, and I was there. Like, just crazy shit, dude. I learned that.
Thomas in the kitchen.
I learned somebody. He had a waterbed in his house. I didn't know a waterbed was real. It's like this motherfucker had a waterbed.
A freaky
Just
ass
crazy
white
shit, man.
boy. Ass white boy. Why he got a water bed in his house?
Yeah, nah, she was crazy.
Yeah,
Partying with the president's son.
Bro, honestly, if you got a waterbed, I feel like you don't really give a fuck about anything because
You
at any
like-
point in time that joint could bust and all your earthly possessions in that room are gone.
I'm gone.
Your security deposit must be crazy, and you don't care about anything.
Like, who even thought about that shit, bro?
Imagine getting robbed like in the middle of the night and you're just on a waterbed.
Let me hold up.
flopping around and shit.
The waves are sick right now, man. Hey, what happened when the moon get close? Do you get like a tide in the waterbed? Can it roll you over to the other side? Like, god damn it, it must be a full moon.
You got impeccable balance if you go to sleep and wake up in the same spot.
You gotta spread out when you sleep on a waterbed, dog.
Yo, do they put
Oh,
salt
man.
water or like fresh water in a waterbed?
I have no idea.
Because I know salt water helps you float a little bit, but regular water, never mind.
You're not in the bed.
Hey, lay off that alcohol bit out.
You should be laying down. They're trying to levitate.
But yeah, hopefully that, like, let me know if y'all got like more questions. But and again, for listeners out there, like, my experience is like unique, and I recognize that. But like I said, find community, and that's honestly my degree. I didn't even know what my degree was for like 5 years. I didn't know what it was. That's how much Geneva like did for me on that end.
How often do you go home?
Man, that shit's expensive. I went home 2 years ago. My brother was getting married. I got to take my wife out there. I definitely recommend. It's like anywhere else, man. It's who you know, where you're at, like the neighborhood you're at, like the people that you know. But Nigeria is popping, man. It is WizKid, DeVito. Those are just highlights. But Nigeria is good people. The love that I've received, like from the aunts and uncles and stuff, just people that really, like, they really fuck with you. That's the only place. And I was like, that's the only place motherfuckers will really care about you. Like, they really fuck with you. So yeah, I definitely recommend.
For you.
All right.
So, urbanly, right? We use some urban words. Would you say that you have motion in J-Town?
Yeah, J-Town is
J-Town?
J-Town is popping, yeah.
The Chia's got motion out there.
Yeah.
I heard some stories.
Emotion. Nah. Here's the thing, man. It's just like, yeah, I can only speak about my experience when I was out there, and things have changed. Like, things is always changing. Money is moving in different places, but if you know people, you gonna have a good time.
My man said IYKYK. No.
Oh, I got a question, John.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna be biased about this, but who has the best jell-off?
Oh, come on, now. My friend. That's not even. We already know it's Nigerian jollof. That's not a question. Next question.
Next question.
Next question. But I tell people, and I mean, I hadn't been back in a while, but it's one of them things like how Kendrick went back to Ghana and shit. Like, there's a reason motherfuckers go back, but it's just about the experience. And I would say if you have the chance, like, when I'm booking a flight, I'll let y'all know, because it's something that you definitely want to do once in a
Booking our
while.
flight too.
Because
You said that shit expensive. Nigga. Booking our
nah,
flight
I
too.
mean, it's really, if you plan ahead, you can get it for like 1,000 or 700 actually. But the rest, that's all you need. The food and the other shit, you'll be good. But it's one of them things I just think you need to experience, because it's just like shit coming to America. I was like, it's different once you in there. You're like, this ain't what I saw. This ain't what I thought. This ain't what I've been fed or made to believe based on what I seen growing up. It's just one of them things. But legit, it's just like here. Like where you live impacts your story a lot, and you gotta deal with power outages. That's one thing you do gotta prepare for. But solar is solar is big there, so cats got solar panels. Just little things to be aware of.
I think in America we were kind of late to solar. We're kind of late to a lot of things, but definitely
Yeah,
solar. Kind of late too.
I worked for a little bit. The company I worked for, they sold like solar panels, and they're pushing that shit heavy. Residential, commercial, like all the tax breaks that you can get now, they're pushing that shit heavy.
They,
Makes sense.
they pushing it, but they don't tell you that shit is bad for your roof if you ain't got the liquid gel. If you ain't got that liquid gel.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
You're right. You're right. They don't tell you that. 'Cause I did not know that.
Those panels are heavy they're heavy, and if you have multiple like panels and whatnot, that shit takes a toll on your roof over time.
What you supposed to do about that?
Invest in the liquid gel if you can, but if you can only do the panels, just have your roof inspected every so often to make sure that shit don't cave in. You know, this is a good investment.
I was gonna wait like 5 years anyway, but like I know you're not
What do you
supposed
think about fast food when you first came here?
Dude, that was like a whole.
No
Yeah, nah. So in J-Town, and here's here's a major fun fact, yo. I grew up in J-Town, Joss, and I moved to a different country, thousands of miles away, and I live in J-Town in Kentucky. It's called Jeffersontown, Kentucky.
That's kind of crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
He went back to his roots. I fuck with it.
Yeah, something. I don't know what it was. But fast food, dude, that was like, dude, anytime I tell Nigerian people I'm in Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm like, what? Like, bro, ain't nobody care about that shit. Like, what?
We already agreed Popeye is better than Kentucky Fried Chicken anyway.
Yeah, like 100. But
I like Bojangles.
McDonald's, I will tell you, ordering from McDonald's, that was an experience. I was
They
not
didn't have
used to that
McDonald's
shit.
over there?
Nah, they do now, but growing up, they had something called Mr. Biggs. That's what they called it. We had Mr. Biggs. They had they had a business now.
We ain't
but
talking about the Isley brothers neither, dog. I will say, man, I'm always surprised, man, when I hear about
Yeah, let's just come to America. Let's McDowell's.
Yeah, they used to have. I ain't been there in a while. They had a place called Juice and Grillade too. I went back and it wasn't there. I was sad, but Mr. Biggs was popping. I'll tell you the line. People be on CP time. I will tell you that this shit is not fast food. This shit's not. You gotta line up for a little bit and then they get you your food. But it's fire. It's like going to Indies out here. You're gonna wait, but the food is fire.
That's cool. As long as the food's good, I don't mind waiting 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, shit is fire. Yeah, when I took my wife back there, we went to a Domino's and a Cold Stone in the capital Abuja, and I was like, what's this doing out here? But yeah, she was like, oh yeah, she sent it to like her family, and she was like, they got a Domino's out here. I was like, when I was here, they didn't have it. This is new to me.
Yeah, where'd that accent come from?
Yeah, it's just to translate.
Sneak that in there, bro. Like,
yeah, sneak that shit in there. But yeah,
real quick. I'm always surprised, man. I've been to a couple places travel wise. I've never been to the other hemisphere, so I can't speak on that. But I'm always surprised to see how many places outside of America have a lot of Americanized like fast food restaurants. And when I went to the Bahamas the first time, well, I guess the only time. So I guess it was also the first time. When I went to the Bahamas, they had a McDonald's, man. But it was cool. They had a chicken mac, and it was basically the Big Mac, but it was with like the chicken breast as opposed to the meat. The because you know they use McDouble meat in Big Macs. I
Yeah,
don't know if I knew that or not, but
Yeah,
it was
I
basically
didn't.
like that, like the little chicken patties, and it was a chicken mac. We ain't stopped because I was on a guided tour, but that joint did look like it was something, man. I'm always surprised to see what other countries how they have taken
Yeah, so
Americanized things
it's
and they
not gonna
switched it
be
up for
like
the
that in
market.
every neighborhood. I'm gonna tell you that, but like, just know it does exist.
hey, you might be on to something with that one. Think about it. A McChicken with extra bread and mac sauce.
With extra bread.
Yeah, you know, you slide the bread in between. That's essentially what a Big Mac
Yeah,
is.
that's
It's two
fair.
pieces of meat, with extra bread.
Yeah,
Damn,
Tom,
shit. Well, not. Yeah, well,
hungry
thank
now,
you.
man.
Man, I ain't eat since like 12 o'clock.
Hey, our fridge went out, yo. Fridges are. I'm like, you don't realize how
You got a
quickly you
home
can go
warranty?
back. Nah, first of all, never buy a Samsung fridge because the warranty is good for a year and it
No, no,
fix
no,
whatever's
no.
broke.
No, I'm talking
On
about
the
like
new
so.
fridge, yeah.
All right, all right.
On the new
But I say
fridge,
no.
yeah. On
If
the
you have
old
a home
fridge,
warranty, that shit should be covered. Or you should be able to claim that on your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance or some shit
I'm
like
gonna
that.
look into it because there's deductions. You
Yeah,
just gotta find them.
get that
But
money,
don't
bro.
buy a Samsung fridge. That's all I got.
Buy them Samsung TVs. I tell you that, cause them
Yeah, buy
shits
the TVs, buy
crazy.
the buy the
I ain't gonna
Whirlpool
say.
fridge, the
Tell you why
Whirlpool
the
fridge
TVs
and
is good, man.
Frigidaire.
Just know that the TVs is good.
Yeah, I had
If
a
you take a
dude come
beating,
out to
it's just
fix it, and he was like, "They need to stick to TVs." I was like, "Oh yeah, I like my TVs," but he's like, "Don't buy the Samsung fridge. Don't do that shit."
Hey, you know who got the best TVs?
LG.
Sony. Sony TVs really like that. They got the best TVs out there.
you think so?
Thought about
Yeah.
getting one.
Hey, you should have hit Walmart while they was having that sale. Got a 65 inch for under $400.
Bro, I'm not trying to hear that, bro. I bought this Vizio 65 back when that was a thing, and I paid like damn near $1,500. Now
God
you can buy them
damn.
shits for like four. Yeah, bro. I had this. I mean, I had this 65 inch for it. It was smart TV, 4K. I hadn't had this joint for a long time though.
Hopefully you have it much longer too.
Yeah.
1500 is crazy.
Should've been
You ain't
well.
You
gonna
got the
never get your
curve.
money back for that one.
That John
Nah, that's
curve.
No,
every
this was
strike.
before the curves even came out, bro.
Damn, bro.
That was a wild phase, like the curves in the TV.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what that shit does, but they just charge
Me
extra for it.
neither.
Make it look like the movie theater.
Now
That's about
they
it.
say it used to it extends the viewing angle because you know how when you sit at the side it's kind of distorted
I
the
got you.
picture, but when
Yeah.
it curves it extends the angle.
Mm.
Yeah, you should know that shit. You the computer science major.
What does that got to do with TVs?
I don't know. Computer science.
Stop
Shit.
talking.
Fuck, I don't know.
Uh,
That is true. He said, Ian, you should know that computer science, televisions,
Yeah.
not television science, computer science.
Hey Thomas,
television science
I got a
thing.
question for you, Thomas. I think I know
What's
the
up?
answer. Like, if a killer came in your room right now and put a gun in your head and said you had to do a dance, or he's gonna kill you, what dance are you doing?
I'm dugging it out. The fuck
I
you
know you're
mean?
Hey, your name for moving forward is the Dougie, bro. That's your name moving forward, player.
Lay
Jeff,
Dougie.
what dance you doing?
I'm a lean with it, rock with it.
Snap your fingers. Chia,
Azonto.
let me see that real quick.
Nah, I can't. I just said that and I was like, I actually can't do it. I'm not gonna embarrass my
So
people on
you would die?
here. I'm gonna
One
just
to the
revert to the
nose.
Dougie or something.
What are you doing, Briscoe?
So I want to say the Dougie, but everybody's saying that shit. So I might have to hit y'all with that bachata. You're
Not the
This
bachadas.
man, you've been in Florida too long, bro.
It's where
I
to
think
be.
I'll probably Millie Rock. That's probably
On-
that's what I
on
would
any
do.
block?
Yeah, actually, that's.
On
You
any
do it on
block to
any
stay
block?
Hey,
alive. And
it
not
took me
just
so
like
long
the
to figure out how to
sneaky.
do that dance. And it's the simplest shit in the world. You just swatting fucking flies. But I couldn't get that concept down to save my life.
Thomas said they ain't
What am I
got
supposed
flies
to
in
do in my
Norfolk.
head? Yeah. We do though, but just I don't know. That shit was wild. When
You
that
can't Millie
fucking
Rock,
band
but he'll
came out.
Dougie his ass off.
Yeah.
Every time I seen Thomas in any dancing situation, he's Dougie it.
DJ.
Hey, you know who got the freshest Dougie though?
DJ.
DJ Morris.
Yeah.
Shout out to DJ.
Yeah, that man was the life of the party.
He is.
Yeah,
That motherfucker got recruited at Jeff Witten to be a party.
Yeah, he
Party.
did.
It's like a whole 40-minute segment on our wedding tape. Like, literally, the last 30 minutes is just
we might have to get DJ on here one day.
Yeah, we do, y'all.
We gotta get a
We
lot of
gotta
people on
set it
here, man. For real. We gotta
My
get a
brother
lot of
said he
people
wants
on
to be on here.
here. Yeah, we gotta get your brother on here too. That's real. That's real.
Nah, shit. Who you say your 5 favorite rappers were, though? I don't think you heard me the first time I asked.
It changed over time, dude. But like, dude, my brother had like 4,000. No joke, he had like 4,000 CDs, bootlegs and shit. And I listened to all. You remember Lumi D?
Yeah, the song that everybody fucking ripped off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember Louis D.
I remember like listening to that shit as I was super young. I remember so let me see top 5. Let me get back to it.
I thought you put Louis D in your top
Nah,
five.
I was just motherfuckers I remember. Because everybody hits you with the
That's a hot
generic
take.
shit.
Let me D in the
Top
top
five.
5. That's the hot take, player.
I almost feel like you gotta ask like my top 5 for like when I was like a teenager and my top 5 now. Because my top 5 now.
Songs y'all re-recorded. Thomas playing with whipped cream.
I'm really trying to think because
Nah,
I listened to some underground motherfuckers. Like, dude, at one point, Absol was in my top 5.
Absol was
That's
like
a good
that though.
one.
Around the
Yeah.
time that we was in college, Absol was kind of like
Absol was top
He's still
5
like
for me
that.
at some point.
I can live with that.
we doing top 5.
I mean, Kendrick, swimming pools, that was a thing.
right?
I really like Chitty Bang at some point. It might be in my top 5. It's not popular.
Yeah,
Hold on,
you
time
were
out.
on Chitty Bang heavy.
Hey, look, if you don't say this one person in your top 5, I'm going to be upset because I know for
I'm
a fact
judged.
he should be in your top 5.
Damn, I don't know
Just
who
'cause.
that is.
Really?
Oh, I think I
man.
know who he's talking about.
Now, if
Yeah.
you ask me my top 5 now, like Burna Boy is in my top 5, but that's like Afro beats. That's different. It's like a different genre.
you-
Top.
You listen to Jules?
Oh yes, I do listen to Jules. Hold on. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
listen to Jules.
Yeah.
I've had so many phases, man. Like, yeah,
I know you like B.O.B.
I do like just like that one song.
I'm still waiting
honest-
on him to say this one person because I know it should have been in your top 5.
I really don't know.
Childish Gambino just not gonna get no recognition tonight. Like, come on, yo.
I don't know, man.
What?
Not really.
Bruh.
Not my top
Damn.
5.
What?
He had like 3 great
Oh,
songs.
you changed. What a shame.
Yo, that's so funny because I remember I went on a date with this girl and she was like, "You remind me of Childish Gambino." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Say you a reminder of childish.
Oh,
Bro, you about to get our
yeah,
shit
like-
unmonetized, bro. We can't even play this. We can't even play this on YouTube
I'll
no
play- I'll
more,
play a little
man.
bit.
Hey, look, no. So what you look? Just look. The
If you
little clip
want
that he
me to
played.
stay,
Yeah, there you go. And they turned into
Dude, I
like
had a-
7 other songs.
dude, I was a teenager listening to Debrat. Like, I was like, I don't even remember. I don't know where Debrat is, and I'm like,
Nah, I ain't gonna do that.
Eve.
I ain't gonna do that.
It's like, yeah, I listened to
Yeah.
Eve a little bit.
Billy. Yeah, he was tough.
You don't got
Um,
no Lil Wayne. You didn't fuck with Wayne.
yeah, I fuck those. Those were the like, and you can ask anybody off the street, and they're gonna say Wayne and Jay-Z and Eminem. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows. Like everybody was listening to that shit.
And
Respect.
Nas. Eminem's not in my top
Nas,
5.
oh my gosh,
Eminem's
yo.
not in my top 5 neither. Love Eminem, but he ain't in my top 5 neither.
Yeah, like Nas talking about like reach, international reach. Like when he's saying that, I want to talk to the mayor, to the governor, to the motherfucking president, whatever. Like motherfuckers took that as like a call to arms and shit. Like the government suppressing us and shit. And I was like, bro, we don't know what he's talking about. He's just rapping.
But
We
nah.
don't-
Nah,
we don't
Nas is
know.
like that though.
Yeah, like
not
his
like
shit.
that in the nation. For real.
I forgot about that. Yeah, rest in peace to Tina Turner, by the way, because it's kind of crazy. Like, Nas gonna be our idol, and like them kids may hear about him, but they not really gonna know him. Like, I really got to brush up on my Tina Turner. I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, she done,
Oh,
she's a legend. But
I got a question for everybody. I know we're a little bit over, but what y'all think about Ja Morant?
he fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
Yo, I watched the interview of what was his
he
name,
just
the
dumb?
commissioner, like talking about it, and he really sounded like a disappointed dad. Like he was like, "You told me, like I talked to you, bro, and like you said he was past this shit, and you went and did that shit again." And I was like, "Yeah, he took that shit personal." So,
And it's the face of the NBA and just can't
uh,
leave the fucking gun alone.
I don't know. I think
got
he'll be
mixed
back,
feelings
but
about
it'll
it.
be like a year.
It's
I got
not like
mixed
he
feelings.
hit the prime.
They gonna send that nigga to China for a year. Like, all right, this what you want to do? All right, cool.
What are your mixed feelings, Briscoe?
I got mixed feelings, bro, because I feel like I always feel like, man, the better you are, sometimes like you put up with people's stuff. That's how it is, man. Like I
Yeah.
can't remember what comedian said it. I think it was D. Ray Davis. He was like, "Pretty girls can get away with anything. An ugly girl start crying by your car. You be like, bitch, get away from my car if I throw a rock at you. Like a pretty girl cry by your car. You be like, oh, what you need, baby? Anything wrong? So I feel like we the same way with superstars. Like if there are certain superstars that were acting that way, we'd probably just turn our head. You know what I mean? We wouldn't even really. It wouldn't bother us. But I feel like with him and the Memphis Grizzlies as a whole, as a team, like they're very, very loud, they're very obnoxious, and they haven't done anything to validate the noise that comes from their team. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like they even made it to NBA Finals, let alone one.
Yeah,
one.
they
I
still
feel
good
like
in the West.
I feel like he's loud for no reason. But the other thing that I feel like is, I mean, dude, he's young. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, like Chia was saying earlier in the podcast, like a lot of these artists have influence on a lot of guys, and it's not like Ja Morant and people like him, people like us, don't listen to that type of music. And for some people, they want to be a part of that lifestyle because it's cool. I get it. You know, he might have grew up in a neighborhood that wasn't the best, wasn't the safest, but I do feel like he's being a little reckless. But also at the same time, with all with saying that, has he done anything illegal?
No.
I get it that a lot of times it doesn't look good. You want to save face, and I think that that's more of the issue of the NBA. It's like you can't have one of your superstars portraying an image. I mean, it was the same way with Iverson. You know, when Iverson came up wearing what he was wearing, the NBA came out and said, no, there's a new dress code policy. You can't wear that shit. Because they try to protect their image. It's a product at the end of the day. So if we start our own company and someone come in there doing something that we don't like, we have a specific image we want, we're going to say, nah, you can't do that. So I get it, but I think the kid, I don't know. I feel like he's a young kid. He's making more money than he probably ever thought he'd ever make. He's really good at what he does. He's probably top 20 of anyone else that does what he does, and you know he's just living life a little bit. So I get being disappointed. I do think that people are being a little hard on him. You know, I can remember when I was that young. I can't imagine what I'd be like that young with that type of money and that type of success.
Right.
So that's why I said I kind of got mixed feelings on it, man. But I bet you if they win a championship, though, people will start turning their eye a little bit.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
What if he joins the Sixers and helps y'all win a championship?
This guy, like,
Of all people,
it's not happening.
All forgiven?
Ja and Philly? No.
don't play no
They
defense.
can't, not
What
gonna
were you about to
last.
say, Jeff?
No, I was just saying, like, imagine if we was like 1920 and we had cameras following us every single place we went to. Like, we did a lot of dumb shit when we was 1920 that people will never know about. So it's like for him, it's like he's just living his life. It's just the fact that he's a mega star and everything he does is going to be magnified. So I personally don't think it's like that huge of a deal. It's just like Briscoe was
It's
saying,
not.
the optics. Like he's representing the NBA, so
Yeah, his boys, he can't put that shit on the internet. Like, I
his
don't
boy
know.
tried to save him too, though. His
He
boy
did. Like
recognized it, tried to,
his boy didn't know he was gonna pull out an actual gun.
yeah, like why
I
are you
feel
on
like-
Instagram live? Like this, like
I
what?
feel like his boy was like this, and then he put the phone back on John. And John's like, "I'll do you one better." He just pulled out.
That's exactly what it was like.
Oh,
But it was out there.
And his
wilding.
boy just turned it away real fast. He didn't know
I was
he
like,
was
whoa,
gonna
hold
do
up.
Nah.
Ready?
Nah, he'll be all right. We thought Kyrie was done, and he's all right.
Maybe
Nah,
Kyrie.
Kyrie ain't been the same.
Yeah,
Kyrie about to be
Nike
on the
needs to
bus
chill a
list.
little bit though. Like they're pulling people's products like real fast. Like
Cause you're not finna fuck up their image.
Yeah,
they drop
man.
Kyrie real
LeBron
fast.
is still selling shoes. Like they could do without everybody else's shoes because they was
I
doing it
tell
for a long
everybody
time.
this. Now that you said that, I'll tell people this. I was going to say this, but I decided not to. But since you brought it up, that's I think what makes what LeBron did that much more impressive because you
Oh
gave a
fuck yeah.
kid, bro, at 18, 17 years old, an exorbitant amount of money. You put him on the face of magazines. You put him in commercials. He was the face of a league. And what
Still is.
name a scandal? Like that's impressive, dog.
But here's my
There were
problem, dude. It's like
rumors.
people still want to hate. That's why I'm like, give this man his roses. Like, don't be like, oh, 10
He
years
not gonna get it
from
until he
now, oh,
retires.
LeBron was the greatest. Like, give it to him now, bro, because he's really doing the damn thing. I'm 33, and I know what it is to run. That shit's hard as shit. This man's 38 doing this shit. Like he's running with 22-year-olds. Like what? That shit is difficult.
And
Like
it's
even if
still
you hate him, bro.
surpassing that's coming in the league.
Yeah, like even if you hate him, like recognize greatness, bro. Like
100%.
you know.
100%. Well, look, man. Hey, we appreciate y'all for stopping by with us today. Again, another episode. We got podcast, getting to know a little bit about Chia, his story. Dang, that's 2 down. We got 4 more to go. Maybe next week we might jump into someone else's story, or we might take a break and touch on one of those other topics that we had. Man, we got a lot of other spicy topics that we wanted to dive into as well. So, hey, stay tuned. Like we always say, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, man, we look forward to seeing y'all next week. Peace out.
1, 2.